Hi, welcome to Video Games Revisited. This review is a request from YouTube user Steelsmeister, and he's requested I review Pitfall on the Atari 2600. Released by Activision in 1982, Pitfall is a side-scrolling platform game, and also the second best-selling Atari 2600 game ever. This game has a few technically impressive firsts as far as the graphics go, but to the average gamer, it's fair to say that the graphics are sufficient and fairly impressive for the 2600 at the time. The sound is very minimal, and the only real standout feature for me was the Tarzan-style yell whenever you swing over a pit on a rope. You control Pitfall Harry, and you have 20 minutes to collect as much treasure as you can, before either the 20 minutes is up, or you run out of lives. This is done by exploring the jungle, avoiding the various obstacles in front of you, and occasionally coming across the treasure, and bagging it for yourself. Whilst most gamers will play this game the traditional way, and moving right across the screen, if you're new to the game, or aren't a particularly experienced gamer, I'd recommend heading off left, as you'll still come across the treasure, and you have the added bonus of being able to run with the barrels, making life a lot easier for yourself. Another advantage of this is, if you were to fall into a lake, you actually end up starting on the left hand side of the screen, as if you were running from the right, meaning you've negated the obstacle altogether. Pitfall's all about the gameplay, and there's plenty to get excited about here. So in between Harry and the treasure, there's all kinds of obstacles. You have logs, scorpions, fire, pits, lakes, crocodiles, and expanding pits. As you progress through the game, these are all presented to you in a seemingly infinite combination and in different ways, meaning you're never on the same screen twice. All of these enemies are fairly well balanced and can be evaded with a little bit of practice, although you will find yourself getting caught out by the expanded pits occasionally if you've got quite a cavalier attitude towards adventuring, as they do tend to be closed when you walk onto a screen, and if you just run on, it's quite common to have them open up in front of you and you'll lose a life as a result. The most common of these obstacles you'll come across are the rolling logs, and thankfully coming into contact with these doesn't instantly take a life off of you. Instead, it'll knock off a little bit of your score depending on how long you're in contact with them for. This said, there are instances in Pitfall where a barrel will either be placed incredibly close to the edge of the screen, or placed quite close to the edge of the screen and rolling at you as soon as you enter it, meaning you'll unjustly have a few points shed off of your score, but this is forgivable. It's quite a minor thing and it doesn't happen all that often. To help Harry out, there are ladders to help him climb out of the holes dotted around this jungle, and swinging ropes to help him clear the various pits and lakes. Arguably, the holes themselves are actually quite helpful, as falling down them doesn't do any damage to your score, and I've lost count of the amount of times I've misjudged a jump, fallen down a little hole, and avoided being hit by a barrel that was on a crash course with me. Whilst we're on the subject of these holes, falling down them takes you into this strange underground tunnel thing, which is heavily populated with scorpions. Whilst there are certain stretches of this tunnel that you can run along simply jumping over the scorpions and avoiding all of the larger, more threatening obstacles above ground, a lot of the time they will be blocked off with brick walls, meaning you're going to have to backtrack, climb up the ladder, and carry on the more conventional way. The beauty of Pitfall is that all 255 screens of it have the obstacles pre-placed and are always in the same position and order. So the more you play Pitfall, the more you'll get to know the jungle and the further you can get, which is fantastic for a 2600 game where normally you'd just be doing the same thing over and over and you pretty much see everything there is to see in a couple minutes. But here you're presented with a genuine adventure that you can play from start to finish if you've got the skill, and this is in the days before Super Mario Bros. Came along and really created a platforming adventure, and I think this element of Pitfall is overlooked far too often. It's genuinely still a pleasure to play Pitfall, and it's plain to see both why it was so popular at the time and why it still continues to be so popular today, with numerous sequels across the many different consoles that preceded it. But that's about it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.